Members of the barrio, New York is one of the top tourist destinations on earth, but I see so many mistakes being made time and time again by visitors. So here we go, 7 more tourist mistakes to avoid in NYC. Make sure to watch till the end, you're gonna learn a lot. Not checking all the rideshare apps at the airport. Yes, you will save money if you take public transportation from any of the area airports to get to Manhattan. However, in my situation, I'm just usually so tired after a flight, I wanna hop into an Uber or a Lyft, and you're making a big mistake if you don't price check between the two. I've made this mistake tons of times. In fact, I just came back from Chicago this past Monday. I checked Uber from LaGuardia Airport, 30 minutes away to Brooklyn, $95. That same rate on Lyft, $41. That's about a $50 differential, so you could save $30, $40. Sometimes Lyft's better. Usually it's Lyft, sometimes Uber has a better price, so definitely check between the two. And if you are planning on taking one of those ride-sharing shuttle services, I've heard so many horror stories about them, how it goes to Midtown Manhattan, gets stuck in traffic, it can take an hour and a half to get you to your hotel, which is only a few blocks away, but you're stuck in gridlock traffic. And if you guys want a guide to the area airports and transportation, tell me in the comments, I'm curious. Today we're filming at the Elevated Acre in the Financial District. This is one of my favorite hidden gems in New York. And a big tourist mistake is not coming here, but that's just a bonus for you. I'm bringing in a special guest. You might know him. He's New York's eyes and ears, ActionKid.
I've got some tips about the New York City subway for you all, and the #1 mistake I see with the subway is buying the single ride ticket, which is $3. Meanwhile, you can buy a new Metro card for $1 and refill it as many times as you want. I mean, sure, it costs 25 cents more for that single ride ticket, and you may think, hey, I'm only gonna be using the subway like once or twice. I'm not gonna recoup the $1 new fee from that Metro card. But that Metro card can be used 4 times in a row. So you can share it between up to 4 people at the turnstile. So that's gonna save you money there. Another tip with the subway are the Metro card types. You have 2 types, unlimited and pay per ride. The default is pay per ride, which is $2.75 a ride, and the unlimited options, which are $33 for a weekly or $127 for a monthly. You need to spend at least 2 trips on the card every day for that weekly to be worth it for you. A lot of people make the mistake of buying the weekly card and not using it often enough. And Manhattan's pretty walkable, so you may not need all the rides that you think you're gonna need. And here's another tip for the weekends, especially. Certain trains don't run on weekends, like the B train doesn't run on weekends, and so does the W. But make sure you read the signs and also the subway map to find out which trains are running, so you don't get lost waiting for a train that never comes.
After almost 10 years in New York, this still affects me sometimes.
Another tip I can have for you all, don't get in an empty subway car if the rest of the other subway cars seem a little bit busy, because it's probably really smelly in there, and there's a good reason why that subway car is empty, so avoid that.
Pre-booking your Broadway tickets. Now this one's a little tricky, so bear with me. It's not always a mistake to buy your Broadway tickets in advance, but it's not something you have to do. If you're coming to New York outside of the peak holiday period, or you don't want to see a particularly hot show, let's say Hamilton, Dear Evan Hansen, or I Predict the Music Man when it comes out with Hugh Jackman, then you don't really have to book your ticket in advance. And here's my opinion on why. Broadway is one of the best indoor activities in New York City, if not the world, and it's the kind of thing that you probably want to save for your worst weather day of your trip. Stop. So let's say it's super rainy on a Tuesday or a Thursday, or super hot and humid. Go to Broadway on the worst weather day of your trip, and then you've got an amazing indoor activity to keep you out of the elements. Also, if you book your Broadway tickets in advance, you don't have the opportunity to get a better price at any of the TKTS booths around the city. So this is something you definitely have to think about, especially if you're flexible and you just want to say you went to any Broadway show. Hi. Not having an audiobook on your flight or subway ride. That brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Chirp. I'm a big fan of reading, and listening to audiobooks. Sometimes you're just tired of watching movies on a flight or listening to music. Audiobooks help me relax and escape, and they can be very useful, especially if you're coming to New York from a faraway place and want to kill time or make the flight productive. But audiobooks can be expensive. That's where Chirp comes in. They're an audiobook retailer that offers amazing limited time deals. There are hundreds of books to choose from, and they're up to 95% off. And unlike other audiobook retailers, there's no subscription fee or monthly commitment. I was just listening to Cook County ICU, an audiobook about the ER in Chicago. It was really good. I got it for just $2.99. Use code HereBeBar5 for $5 off your first purchase, and if the book is $2.99, guess what? That first book, absolutely free. Find the link and promo code in the description. Audiobook fans, you're gonna love this. I think the secret is out. I've never seen so many people eating lunch at this park. I think that the financial district's starting to get a bunch of people coming back to their businesses, so it's actually very nice for me to see all these people hanging out here. Making your New York City itinerary based on the top tourist attractions only. I am a member of a bunch of Facebook groups about New York City travel because I want to have a pulse on what people are asking about and where people are going, and I see itineraries posted, and most of them are exactly the same. I mean, it's like clones. Everybody wants to go to the observation decks. They want to go to Joe's Pizza. They want to go to Broadway. And if they step outside of a half mile of the Brooklyn Bridge, I would be shocked. The issue here is that you are going to be surrounded by tourists almost everywhere you go if you stick to those tried and true observation deck style itineraries. Look, I just took a trip to Chicago, and my least favorite thing the entire weekend was going to one of their main observation decks. I was surrounded by other travelers. Instead, when I left the city center and I went to some cool neighborhoods, that's what I really remember. So I'm not telling you to avoid the top tourist attractions, but I'll say that if you're not the most adventurous traveler, push yourself to do at least one thing that's outside of the norm. I don't know, go to Flushing, Queens and eat some amazing Chinese food. Go to Brighton Beach and head to the boardwalk and try some Russian food, because these are the memories that I think you're gonna remember the most, and I promise you there's not gonna be a lot of other tourists there. You can see the Brooklyn Bridge right down there. Beautiful day in Manhattan. Not taking advantage of all the free things to do here in New York. A trip to the Big Apple can be one of the most expensive of your life if you let it. I mean, sure, you could spend all your days doing cruises and staying at a 5-star hotel, going to fancy restaurants, and it will add up if that's the kind of traveler that you are, or if you just don't plan ahead. But this city has so many amazing free activities that you can do that will save you money. Many museums have pay what you wish admission, and some museums are absolutely free or almost no cost all the time. Another great idea is to visit Greenwood Cemetery. This was the original New York City tourist attraction in the 19th century. If you walk around there, you won't see many people, well, for obvious reasons, but the sculptures there are incredible. It's like going to a free outdoor art museum. Or check out the Socrates Sculpture Park in Astoria, Queens, which has some amazing outdoor exhibits using some of ActionKid's footage here. Check out Governor's Island in the summer. It's like an oasis right across the water from Manhattan. Another idea would be going to some of the free art galleries in Chelsea, or better yet, check out the incredible street art all over Bushwick, Brooklyn. We have tons of ideas on this channel of free things to do. Do not overlook this tip. Not spending enough time in New York City. I can't believe I've never mentioned this on a video before, but no matter how much you've planned or how long you're staying, there's always something new to see. Sure, you could hit the highlights in a weekend and knock out most of the major points in a week, but there's a reason why so many of you out there tell me you come to New York City every year, few times a year, 10 times in your life, because there's always something new to do. And there's different neighborhoods to explore, ethnic restaurants to eat at. We've covered a lot of great stuff on the channel. My point here is that if you're wavering about an extra day or two in New York, especially if you're visiting from really far away, take the extra days. Trust me, you won't regret it, because New York City is one of the best places on earth to not be bored. You're always gonna find something new to do, be it a pop-up exhibit or some new attraction or a new restaurant. Book a little extra time, I think you'll be happy you did it. Tell me in the comments any mistakes you've made on your past trips to New York, and make sure to check out another video on the channel. Guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, until next time.